they're attracted to each other, and so opposite that they're going to repel from one another. And when they repel from each other, it's going to be a real lesson for them to learn for their lives, you know, of what drew them to one another and what drew them apart. So yeah, that's what I have for you. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Light Time. My name is Hali, so grateful to have you all. So let's get right into the reading. Yeah, really excited to have you all. Members get to watch this first, so if you want to see it as soon as I finish editing, it's usually on Thursday or Friday, and then I usually drop the video next day or following. Yeah, so if you're too impatient, not in a bad way, to wait, because you know sometimes you want to see it, which is totally fine. Come remember, $4.99 a month. Other membership benefits too. Okay, so I'm doing, these are all requested. In fact, I've only been doing requested videos recently, except for two that I just recently did. Two topics, included in the video. But these two people that these two topics that I'm doing in couples update are just pure requests. So if you're a member also, you will automatically get your video done. If you're not, I pick and choose from different people. Okie dokie, so let's get into this. I'm doing Hero Fiennes Tiffin, is that his name? Tiffin, right? And Josephine, his girlfriend. Yeah, I'm excited to be doing this. I feel like as I was shuffling the cards, I got a sense of like puppy love energy, you know? So yeah. Okay, so I pulled past, present, and future. I'm doing it a little differently because it's the first time I'm doing this on them. Yeah, the next couple I'm doing is Candice Swanepoel and Harry Styles. Actually, I have a personal story about that. But I know they're not a couple. I just wanted to include it here because I've been doing like topics, you know. Okay, so with the past being Three of Cups, I think that they were friends. Hero and Josephine, they were friends for sure. I get that they've known each other for quite some time. I don't know really anything about them. I know that his son is in Scorpio and her son is in Leo. That's what I know for sure. And her Venus is in Libra. I don't know his Venus. But I see very strongly here that there's this energy of like friendship, like texting each other, actually like writing each other, writing. I think they might have gone to the same school or gone to schools close to one another. That's the energy that I get very strongly. And I see like backpacks and stuff. I went to British school, so it brings back memories. Brings back a lot of memories actually. So with the present being the High Priestess, I feel very strongly that both of them are very intuitive. More specifically him, and I think that he has a tendency to be jealous and to kind of like scoop about her. She has a very bubbly, which is very normal for Sun and Leo, very bubbly, fun, easygoing personality, and that, I feel like when I say this, a lot of Scorpio is one of my favorite signs, okay? I think when I say this, sometimes Scorpios are like, we're not like that, but from an outsider's perspective, it comes across possessive. It comes across, that's mine. And whenever the person, like how I see with her, like her bubbly personality, kind of sends him into jealousy, you know? Because he's like, who's she talking to? He knows that she attracts people. She's a virgin. And when people say attractive, yes, the person can be physically attractive, but there's just some people that attract people, you know? There's just some people, you don't even have to physically look good, to attract people. There's just some people that attract people. It's like a magnetic thing, and a personality thing. She's got a very bubbly personality, and she has that personality that she's just like, people just want to be around her. So with the future being judgment, I don't see it lasting, unfortunately. But you know, fortunately and unfortunately, because this kind of relationship is set up to learn from, and she's going to learn more than he will about herself. And one day she's going to look back when she's older. I just got an image of her being older, looking back and being like, I can't believe I did that. It was so silly, you know. They're just too young to appreciate each other, and that's the thing about young love. I think the number one reason for divorce, this is my personal opinion, because people will say it's money, people say it's extramarital affairs. I think most people are too young when they get married. And you know, I think a lot of people are like pushed into it because you know, when you're a woman, your biological clock is ticking, the societal pressure and so forth and so forth. But there's so much pressure to be forever with the person that you might see red flags and you might see this, you might see that, but you have to make it work, because there's only so much time you have to get married. Like, there's a huge rush to get married, but then to stay married is another story. So young love is supposed to be like this. Young love is supposed to be, you learn, then you move on, you know? And I think a lot of people don't necessarily look at that, and I don't agree with it. And I think that's the number one reason for divorce, because people are like, oh, I didn't really know myself. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I believe. So with the bottom of the deck, the energy of the moon, I can kind of see them. And you know, this card, there's a black wolf and a white wolf, and the moon is in between them. And I can see that about their energies. He is definitely the black wolf, she is the white wolf, and she has that fun, like, cheery, and he's got like a darkness, which is why I usually love Scorpios. They have a darkness to them that's very charming. They're very, can I say something? Scorpios are very charming. They're also very magnetic, but like in the opposite way to what I was talking about, you know? So I see definitely, I wouldn't say twin flame energy, but they're so opposite that they're attracted to each other, and so opposite that they're going to repel from one another. And when they repel from each other, it's going to be a real lesson for them to learn for their lives, you know, of what drew them to one another and what drew them apart. So yeah, that's what I have for you. Please comment. I'd love to hear what you say. Please be respectful. I think I might do updates on them moving forward. So I'm going to do Candice Swanepoel and Harry Styles. There's been talks about them. You know, you guys have been writing me, messaging me on Instagram and stuff like that, which I love. Thank you so much. Let's see. I will say this. If you guys are going to talk about Zari, that kind of implying that the One Direction members were in a romantic relationship, I will block you. On my Instagram, on everywhere, I will block you, because I don't believe it, and it's very insensitive. They are people, you know, they are humans. That's why I'm usually cautious of what I say, how I speak about them. I still like to have respect for them as people. So I have a personal story. I don't know if you guys know this, but I grew up, I think I mentioned it quite a lot. But I grew up in South Africa. My parents are South African, and I consider myself American because I was born in America and I've lived half my life here. And I feel like I'm even though I have a British accent, mostly British South African accent, Commonwealth accent, even though my accent sounds like this, I feel like a foreigner when I go to South Africa. I do not relate at all to South Africa. No one, but except for like house music, that's the only thing that I relate to. Everything else, I'm very Americanized and Britishanized, whatever that word is. But because when I go to London, I feel like I'm at home. When I when I go to South Africa, I feel like I am such a foreigner. I don't know anything. Even people are like, you're not from here, right? I'm like, no. Even though I lived there for a long time. So it's still in South Africa, in Johannesburg. And actually, I shared like a friend group with Candice Swanepoel. And they used to call her Candice. And I remember we used to go to like this mall called The Zone. And it was in Rosebank. Like all the models used to hang out there. And I remember she was signed. This was a time when I was starting out as a model too. I didn't get really that far because the modeling industry is not for me. Even though I stopped eating to be a model, I loved food way too much that I started eating again. But I remember one time we were all hanging out in like this courtyard. I don't know if she would remember the story. And we were all, I think I was like 14, 15. She was a year older than I am, I remember that. Or a year younger, we were around the same age. Because we had friends, like I said, in common. We had friend groups and we all hang out together in this courtyard. And I remember she had just signed a big campaign with this, because the modeling agency was by that courtyard. So the models all hang out, we'd all like, you know, do naughty stuff. I can't say what I do because I was underage. But I remember her saying, I don't know if she did any of this. I'm not implying anything about her, but I'm just talking about myself, that I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing because I was underage. But I remember her saying that, because I heard her talking, and I remember she was talking with these guys. And, you know, these guys were so rude to her. And I remember her saying, like, oh, yeah, we see you just got a huge campaign. Now you think all that. And she said something, if this was a long time ago, it was like half my life ago, so I don't fully remember what she said. But she said something like, yeah, watch me. I'm going to be in New York very soon. And you're going to see me on billboards. Just watch. And they were laughing at her. And they were like, ha, 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 whatever, as if. And guess what? She was a Victoria's Secret. So when I saw her later on, like I think I was in England, and I saw her on TV as a Victoria's Secret model, I was like, because I remember that her name wasn't Candice. Her name was Candice. People used to always call her Candice. And I remember her because she had that huge campaign with it was like South Africa's version of Target, you know, or British version of Marks and Spencer. It's called Woolworths, and she had a campaign with Woolworths. I remember seeing her name, it was spelled Candice, and people would call her all kinds of, they call her Candice, they call her Candice, they call her all kinds of names, but that's how I remember. So I'm very proud of her for making it that far and for believing in herself, because she had no doubt. She was one of those people I just saw in her. I think I met her another time, but I remember her so clearly because she was like, watch me. You're going to see me in New York and I'm going to be on billboards. And they were like, ha, 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 ha. And I'm sure now she's the one laughing, you know? So that always taught me, doubt people. Don't listen to people that doubt you. In fact, prove them wrong. I'm very proud of her. Okay, I just had to throw that in. She's a son of Libra too, which I find very interesting. Gives me very Leo energy, that kind of mentality. So, well, her Venus is in Virgo, and his Venus is in Aquarius, and he's a son of Aquarius. Now, like I said, they're not a couple, but there have been murmurs about them together. So, let's see what is in store. Okay, so I'm actually like, I'm not tooting my own home, but I feel like I've met so many famous people throughout my life. It's almost like very interesting to watch back and have a story of, yeah, I met that person. Yeah, I had an interaction with that person. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that famous people are above other people, but it's just interesting to see when somebody came from quote unquote nothing to being such a superstar, to being like this person that's like That's why when I speak about these people, I understand that they are people, you know, and that's why I won't engage in any negativity. I mean, I everybody loves gossip. I love gossip, but I only like to gossip if it helps us move forward as people, like if it helps us analyze. And so that's what I mean about negative gossip. This is not negative gossip, we're just looking at it from a different perspective. So with materials, 3 of Cups and 7 of Cups, interesting. So I see friendship. I see a friendship that I just see friendship, honestly. 4 of Wands, even though 4 of Wands is usually about marriage, I see this particular one. It's in this deck. If you see here, there's just a bunch of friends hanging out together, celebrating. I think that they might have met at like a Victoria's Secret show or something like that. See them like hanging out in New York. It's funny, I never met her in New York, even though I've met a lot of models in New York. I never met her in New York. Actually, no, let me not tell that story because it's not my story to tell. But I know somebody who used to hang out with her in New York. And I remember telling them that story, and they were like, "Oh yeah," well, because this person is a public person. I'm not gonna tell their story because I don't want. I just people that are in the public that are close to me, I don't like to tell their stories. So with 8 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, I strongly see PR. This is a PR move. I think a manager said something to them like, "Oh, okay, let's get together. We'll like." I strongly feel like he's getting ready to launch something regarding clothes. So he's going to get close to models, you know, and then he's going to release like a campaign that's very sexy attire, you know, looking really good. I see like black and white, almost like Calvin Klein-esque. He could be Calvin Klein. Can I tell you guys something? I'm the worst at keeping up with like these stories. If somebody signs Calvin Klein and so forth, that's why I appreciate when you guys send me stuff. So he might already be signed to Calvin Klein. I see a campaign very similar to that coming out. And then him partnering with a fashion brand. It's possibly H&M, Topshop, something like that, where he's going to be designing and then coming out with his own line. So with 8 of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, and the Star. Yeah, so it's all money connected. And then, as the Sun in Aquarius, most of what we do is very strategic, especially about business. I had to, at a point in my life, decide, especially when I saw a lot of friends around me were only friends with me for business benefits, I had to decide, take accountability about that and say, you know what, I mostly do business with my friends, yeah? And I feel like some of them are using me, and that's a very Aquarius thing. A lot of us, we do business with our friends, and then it ends up, sometimes they end up really hurting us because we were never really friends to begin with. And I can see that about him, is that he aligns himself business, friendship-wise, with people that he would do business with too. They emulsify, but the problem with that is that you never really get a break from doing work, especially because he has Capricorn. I believe his Neptune is in Capricorn. There's another house planet in Capricorn that indicates strongly that he's very work. And Aquarius, Saturn, run by Saturn and Uranus. But we're very work-oriented people, and oftentimes our life can become our work, which makes us successful, but also we need that bridge, we need that break of work and of our life. And I see that happening here. 10 of Pentacles and 9 of Cups. Very strongly that he's using his connections with models and his romantic life to start a fashion career. Fashion career, meaning being a poster boy, then having his own line, then doing collaboration, then having his own life. He's moving in steps. So that's what I have for you all. I love you all. Please like the video, comment and subscribe. I'd love to have to say it. Please be respectful. Take care.